Waltz with Bashir, an Israeli film that follows the director Ari Folman in his journey to recall his memories of being a soldier in the 1982 Lebanon War. The film is based off of true events and recollections on the battlefront. The plot follows Folman as he visits and interviews his old comrades about what they can recall from the conflict, and the audience gets to behold these memories. There's an irony in using such an aesthetically pleasing medium, because I would say Waltz with Bashir is a more impactful anti-war film than most live-action war films. Take this scene for instance. Ari and his regiment were marching through a field of orange trees with their tank in tow. In the shadows, we see a small body carrying a rocket launcher. He emerges through the shadows, lines up his sight, and shoots the rocket past the soldiers and into the tank. What follows is stomach-turning. This sequence makes us acknowledge that war sweeps up the innocent and forces normally sane men to do the unthinkable. This child couldn't be more than 10 years old, and even many of the Israeli soldiers are younger than most college students, thrown into a deadly world, inexperienced. Folman himself was 19 when he was enlisted. The traumatic scenes he was witness to serve to suppress these memories, the ones he tries to search for throughout. Ari is by no means a hero, like the conventions of war films usually make us feel about our protagonists. In fact, Ari feels that he might have been complicit in the notorious Sabra and Shatila refugee camp massacres, and as the film comes to its conclusion, Folman is close to his revelation and the audience closer to the truth of what happened on that day. In the third act of the film, we get some historical background to these events. After the assassination of Lebanon's newly elected Christian president Bashir Gemayel, the Christian militia called the Phalangists became increasingly enraged towards the Palestinians, who they took to be responsible. Ari and other Israeli soldiers stationed in Beirut at the time were tasked to accompany the Christian Phalangists, who exclaimed they were going to enter the Sabra and Shatila camps to kill the terrorists hiding there. The final scenes reveal the truth that Ari's guilt might have helped suppress. It's revealed that the Christian militia went into the camps and butchered thousands of innocent civilians, and the Israeli army, of which Ari was a cog, was partly culpable because they turned a blind eye to it. All the interviews have jogged Folman's memory as to where he was that day. The irony of using a medium so beautiful to depict an aspect of humanity that is so ugly is a telling contrast. Some would say that the animating of these vicious acts might work to trivialize or make them palatable. With this film, the opposite is true. It has the effect of making death rightfully consequential. The irony of Waltz with Bashir is that it is not afraid to show the horrors and revulsions of battle, things most action movies wouldn't think to show. This is especially true when Ari finally remembers entering the camps. He looks on and hears cries. The remaining mothers and wives of the murdered rush out of the camps toward Ari. The wailing cartoon mothers turn into real-life historical footage of the aftermath. The work of the animation is over at this point because, as Ari Folman himself has said, the role of animation was an effective tool for describing the fractured memories, but now he remembers. The contrast being achieved before between the beauty of the art and the ugliness of the events is no match for the contrast between the animated and the reality. Waltz with Bashir is an important film to watch in its entirety because it is an excruciatingly effective experience that opens the viewer's eyes to the realities of war.